Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to let you know that I am a public speaking whore. That's the only reason why I am here. 30 years ago, you would not have caught me in this room because I was terrified of saying my name, let alone saying anything about myself. I joined an organization called Toastmasters, and it looks like working on the phones is as good as Toastmasters in terms of helping people get rid of those ums and ahs and those filler words that make us look a little less confident, a little less intelligent than what we really are. Now it's like, give me the microphone and get out of my way. So when Carrie asked me to come here today, it was like, yeah, I can do this because I know how to speak. And I do. And what I would like to talk to you today is not about what Carrie said, because we didn't talk about introductions and we didn't really talk about experiences. I'm going to talk to you about why this program is the same as getting your driver's license. How many of you have taken driver training? Yeah, not a lot. I recommend for those of you who haven't that you might have chosen to do that and maybe even take a refresher, because like this program, you don't start behind the wheel. You start in the classroom and you learn. You learn about protocols, you learn about laws, you learn about what's important. You learn about the vehicle that you're going to be driving, not just about how to turn on the key and drive down the road, but how to put the gas in without spilling it all over yourself, how to check the oil, how to check the tires, how to keep that vehicle running smoothly. And it's the same thing for your business. You learn. You take that idea that you have, and I didn't have an idea, I had sort of an idea, and that was what I was running with at the time. That idea has pivoted a few times, but we'll come back to that later. So like you don't get behind the wheel, you learn first. You get it in your head first. Not all of it, but you start to get the gist of the idea. And then you start applying it. And you apply it in a way that is based, you apply it and you start making mistakes. And you're going to be making a lot of mistakes. Because if you don't make mistakes, you're not trying hard enough. And if you're not trying hard enough, you're not going to learn. Because it's those mistakes that you learn on the way that are going to give you the substance to your business, the substance to your passion. Because you not only learn how you made the mistakes, but why. What was not only going wrong in terms of the implementation, what was going wrong in your brain, and sometimes what was going wrong in your heart. So you learn that part first, and then you get behind the wheel. Now, I was raised on a farm. And my brothers learned how to drive tractor when they were 10 years old. I was the girl. I got the pink chores. I would rather be out mucking stalls than doing dishes. But I didn't get that opportunity. And I still hate doing dishes. So my first experience behind the wheel, I was terrified. I didn't even get that hands-on experience with my parents on the tractor, in the car, anywhere. It was just like, well, we're going to teach you, get you to learn how to do it properly. So I was petrified, and there was, a couple of my classmates in the back, and they'd had some experience. So it was scary. So my background is in social service work. I worked in women's shelters. I spent 7 months in prison working with sexual offenders. I worked for the CAS, I worked for the school board, I worked for the John Howard Society. I learned how to piss off landlords and pull pickles out of my ass, as my daughter says. My background, other than being a farmer's daughter, was not in entrepreneurship. So again, all this was new to me. And then I had to start making steps in the right direction and start trying to implement. Now, it's a good thing that we had that lovely business plan to do. It was a pain. Anybody like doing business plans? No. Well, there's a weird one in the crowd. But for most of it, it's a pain. It is excruciating. But sometimes the things that you find are pains, once you get the rhythm of it, it's like, yeah, this is a really good thing to do. Just like, checking the oil in the car is not fun, but it's a really good thing to do, because if you do it on a regular basis, you're looking after your car well, and it's going to look after you well. So you learn the rules and you get your license, and even when you pass this course, and I hope there's a certificate. Is there a certificate at the end of this?
Sure.
Good. Because just now, there is now. Because just like your license, yes, it's a little piece of paper, but it has big meaning. It has great meaning. I can help you design those if you like.
Note to self.
You need something for your hand. You need something for your head, the knowledge. You need something for your heart, your passion, and you need something for your hand to say, yes, I did this. So yes, you do it, but you still don't know everything. When you're driving, they keep changing the rules. They keep changing the roads. They keep putting up detours. Things are always changing. And that's what entrepreneurship is like. You can learn, but you've got to keep on learning. And you have to keep on ahead of what's happening. A friend of mine, we had a really good conversation the other day. He does risk assessments, and I'm trying to wrap my brain around it. It's not just the regular things like money and trying to set your goals and make enough money. It's looking at the little things, like what if your ice cream maker breaks down?
Oh,
yes. But yeah, little things like, what if your ice cream maker
wouldn't have the money to fix it?
No, and so you've got to sort of, okay, what if that happens? What do I do? Because if you're thinking ahead, you can prepare for that. Just like when driver training, they teach you how to deal with an ice slick, so you are prepared to deal with that when it happens. And you have to keep exercising that muscle, because just because you learn how to do it doesn't mean that it becomes a memory, so that you can go into immediate fix-it mode and get back on your path. And that's part of what I want to talk about too, is that sometimes when you're driving down the road, you can expect things like oil slicks. But in Peterborough, you don't expect things like avalanches. And in terms of life, avalanches happen. Since I started with this program 3 years ago, I have had many avalanches. And just like when you're riding in a car, it doesn't matter whether you're driving or you're a passenger, you still have to dig out of that avalanche. Now, in my life, avalanches have included sexual assault. They have included homelessness. They have included a close family member being hospitalized for suicide, ideation. And those are just the tip of the iceberg. I have been through, my mom with cancer, I've been through a lot. But I still have that part of my business that I am working on. So even though I'm dealing with this, my business and trying to grow it and trying to make it evolve kept me anchored. There's a podcast called Unemployable, and it's for entrepreneurs. And I know for sure I am unemployable. My experience and skills that I got being a social service worker do not apply as in most of the market that I can fit into now. I don't want to go back to social service work. It is too hard on my heart and my psyche, because on top of everything else, I deal with depression. So yeah, so being an entrepreneur is best for me. And like I said, I pivoted. I started out thinking I was going to be a copywriter. And then I thought I was going to teach people about how to do public speaking. And then I thought that, I love apps and I can teach people how to use apps. But that wasn't getting traction. So I pivoted again. And the end of 2018, I changed again. So my two new passions, and they're actual passions, because I did the head stuff and I did the exercise stuff, the doing stuff, but now I am doing the heart stuff, and it is growing incrementally because I am now patient with myself. I am doing my Focus 15, and I've solicited local entrepreneurs. The first one was how to start 2019 with Your Most Confident Self, and it was a local coach who calls herself a confidence catalyst and helps people look at what their passions are and look at what's stopping them from getting them. So she did a great interview, so you can check that up on my Focus 15 Facebook page. The second one was someone who is vision impaired, who started the Millbrook Times, who has been a serial entrepreneur, and talked about how accessibility is good for business. I had Ruth Van Deersen on Wednesday, and she talked about how marketing a service is very different than marketing a product, and she gave tips on that. And then I've got a writer coming next Wednesday, and she's going to be talking about how to do a media release. I mean, a lot of us use social media in terms of promoting things, but sometimes we want the big times. We want the Peterborough Examiner. And so she's going to be giving some tips on that. And there's a lot of things that you're going to glean from her. So I hope that you look at the past episodes, and I hope you tune in for the future ones. My other passion is delivering workshops. I love to teach, and I love to teach in a workshop format. So I have booked this space the last Tuesday of every month. And what I'm starting out, and those of you who did your website on your phone only, you will certainly appreciate this, because I'm going to show how your phone is your marketing best friend. So that's going to happen the end of this month, and I hope you will consider participating in it. So the bottom line is, just like your license is a very valuable piece of paper for you, for your life, and you don't use it always for your business, but you use it on a regular basis, and it's kind of nice to have that in your pocket. Your certificate as an entrepreneur, whether you choose to continue on as an entrepreneur or not, is still going to be a very valuable piece of paper for you too, because there is a lot of learning that goes into this, a lot of experience, a lot of innovation, a lot of inspiration, and what's the word, motivation. There's lots of things that go into it. So if you even choose to go back into being an employee rather than an employer, you are going to be so valuable. And I suggest that if you go that direction, to really hit that up, because you're going to be so empathetic. So bottom line, enjoy this experience, enjoy the road, enjoy the journey, because it's a long trip from that terrified behind the wheel to, yeah, I got this.
Wonderful.